Ramadan hunger rage arc. I won't rage. I'm not gonna rage during Ramadan. Come on. If aliens exist in this world, come adopt me. Come take me away from this planet. I don't want to live on the same planet with morons like this. Thank you. Bye. Colonel, I won't be raging ever again. Hello. Hi. So I just want to say I'm sorry and it'll never happen again, and yeah. Ow. I'm like mentally breaking down, so I don't know if I can not stop crying or not. I'm gonna share my Ramadan experience with people. I'm gonna try to just like ignore hate. Come on and do my videos. I can't. I'm done. I'm tired of being the beating post of an incredibly disgusting, toxic community. Yeah, Tracy, I'm not gonna be on YouTube as a platform anymore. I can't.
Hello teacups, what's brewing? Welcome back to the channel and thank you so much for being here. As I speak of thanks, I also want to thank whoever the clips in the beginning of this video belong to. Some of them were mine, some of them I think I got one from Barbecue Chicken. I can't remember where the others came from. And also thank you to the community at large for archiving, because I was a little bit confused. I saw the video is still up, but the community posts, I was a little busy today. I had some personal things I was taking care of, and it just meant that I completely missed the community posts. As far as I can tell, I did ask on Twitter, but I got a couple of different responses. I think the video came first and the community post came second, because she was getting a little bit of pushback, well, a lot of pushback, people going, what on earth are you doing? And rightly so, really, but that's the order I'm gonna take it in this video, I believe. And I'm not downloading her video today because the video had no audio. So it was just screenshots, and I got those screenshots from DX on Twitter. I believe the comment screenshots came from Michael B. Petty, but I'm not entirely sure. If they are, then thank you very much. If they're not, sorry to the persons they are. Okay, so let's get started, shall we? Now, as we all know, Foodie had been back in Canada and she was claiming again that it was a permanent move back, that she wasn't going to return, that she needed to get her apartment set up, and that's what she had discussed in some lives that she had had. Now, she hadn't been live very frequently, and I have some thoughts about that based on some of the information we've got now, but she called this final update in a while and then gave us this. So first screenshot, I'm going back to Kuwait. On one hand, this is not shocking, but on the other hand, seriously. Now, Foodie is a lying lie who lies. This is well established. If she's breathing, she's lying. And we did have a conversation last time we were talking, I do believe. I hope we had this conversation, maybe I just intended to, of what has changed so much in Canada that all the obstacles to her going back to Canada were now lifted. Because when she said she was going back over Christmas, she couldn't get a doctor because it was going to be years, and then she was saying, well, I have family members that can get me in. She claimed she had a therapy appointment on the 18th, which I'm guessing is now not happening because it would have been one that she booked in Canada if she had it. And she still didn't have a good credit history, so signing for an apartment was going to be difficult. I didn't know if maybe she could have a guarantor. That's something we do in England if you don't have a great ability to prove your reliability. That's a quite awkward way of saying that, but like when I was a student and I went back for my master's, I didn't have a good history in the UK of my past rentals and things because I hadn't done it before. I'd been working abroad, so my father ended up being my guarantor, and I was reliable. I could pay the rent, it wasn't a problem, but I didn't have historical proof of that, so that's what I had to do. And I presumed that Foodie would do something similar, because if she wasn't going to be with Pete's, which even if she's not, she's saying she's married, wouldn't be a good thing, it seemed like that was going to be her only option. So the real question here is, was she never intending to stay in Canada, or did she go there thinking she would, but in her usual sense changed her mind? Foodie does have a way of thinking that if I take this step, my entire life will change, and then not following through on those steps. Canada, in a lot of ways, is becoming her new day one of dieting. I'm going to change my life, but this is a damn expensive way to fail. Like, go back to juicing and ghost diets, it'll be cheaper. The only thing that makes me hesitate on that as an idea is the fact that for a visa run, which this absolutely was, she may have been intending to stay or she may not have been, but she had to be out the country by the time her tourist visa was up. So while this may have been many things, and one of the reasons she's so vehemently denying it is, one, she doesn't like to admit the truth, but two, she may have been intending at some point to stay, is because I don't understand why she would go all the way back to Canada when it would have been so much cheaper just to go somewhere close and so much more comfortable for her, or if not more comfortable, shorter. She could have done this in Dubai. She could have gone to Qatar like she did before. She could have crossed any border around her, and it would have been cheaper and closer to home to stay in a hotel while she got the visa renewed. Now, she did mention in the live where she showed the poutine, she did mention that a lot of her coming back to Canada was for the food, and I'm guessing for the other things, which we will also talk about. So I don't know if this is just an extension of her own impulse control, only instead of binging, she's getting on flights. But I do wonder how long that's going to last in terms of how expensive it is and convincing Salah next time. Because there will be a next time. It looks like there's always a next time. Like I say, I think this is now just become a new step in the cycle. The only question right now really isn't so much was it a lie as much as to what degree was it a lie. Did she go in absolutely knowing and then just returning and not caring? Or did she go in lying to herself and then realizing there's no way, all the things that she likes to ignore when it comes to responsibility, there was no way she was going to be able to slip in here. But then she had tried this at Christmas. It hadn't been that long. Clearly something was going on behind the scenes. But let's look at the next slide. I got a bit nostalgic for Canada, but when I got here, my feelings changed. My feelings changed, past tense, I'm presuming. Moving here feels like a step back. There will be no going back to how things were. I love my new life as a revert, and despite not being perfect, I will get closer to Allah, inshallah. The vibe in the Middle East is best. Islamic countries are best. All I'm reading from this is that things have already gone back to how they were. She has been eating herself into a stupor. She hasn't wanted to face the responsibility she'll have to go through to stay in Canada. She probably doesn't want to go to a therapy visit on the 18th, and she's just painting herself into corners every time she pretends, both personally and with her audience. I think the reason the vibe in the Middle East is best is because she doesn't have the opportunity to choose the things that she can't stop choosing in Canada. So when she talks about how she's an addict, I do agree in certain ways. I don't think it's the excuse and the catch-all that she thinks it is, but I do agree. I don't think she'll ever stop with the weed. I think it'll only escalate. I don't think she'll ever stop with the food, no matter where she is. But she has the ability to do less damage to herself at a cheaper price in Kuwait. Because I don't think for a second she has the money or the ability to set herself up. But then you look at some of the choices she's made, like spending money on the car. Did she do that or did she not do that? Because she wasn't home for very long. When she got into the car in her journey vlog, she was saying that they need to get some work done on it. And then when she came back, she said they'd redone the brakes. That seemed a very short amount of time, but I don't drive. I don't know how much time this takes. But I do remember saying, well, that was, what, $2,000 right there? Like, it's all very well to say, oh, no, we're fine. We do fine in your normal life day to day. Like, didn't we work it out that the cheap flight she took was like $1,500, and then because of the time she flew, obviously, and then the breaks were $2,000, so that's $3,500 right there. She's been eating out. She's got other costs. It seems that she's been back on the weed, and we have noticed her acting peculiarly, so she may be on other things. We don't know. Did she just convince herself, no, I'm serious this time, I'm not just going to fall straight back into that hole? Or did she go there knowing full well she would, and that's why she wanted to be there? These are the questions. Supporters have threatened to unsub if I choose a direction in life they don't like. I say, please leave. I don't need fair weather followers. This phrase, just gets me. Fair weather followers. It's so manipulative. You can only be supportive if you are supportive in exactly the way I say you have to be. It's only love if it's unconditional. And the rest of it is your fault. I want boundaries. And she says this, boundaries, people. If any of you who sent me money for my new place here want it back, let me know and I will return it to you, no problem. We'll talk about that in a second because we've been here before. But putting your life out to the public and then saying people are fair weather if they have any problems with anything you do at any time, despite the fact that you have said outright you want the opposite of what you're doing, and you've given many reasons why you have to be doing the thing you're doing and now giving up, and you've been appealing to your audience for support, and then they're not allowed to say anything, get lost with that. You don't need fair weather followers. We don't need fair weather creators. We don't need creators that only come when they need something and then say screw everybody else, which is exactly what Foodie does. But the big difference there is the audience can give her up and not really lose anything. Like, yes, I'd lose a little bit of money if I stopped reacting, and I like money, but she doesn't seem to care. And I won't say realize, because she does realize, but I don't think she really believes at any point that she will lose everything. Reactors could stop reacting and life would go on. But if people stopped watching her, it'd be a lot more difficult for her to recover. And she rages against that, but it is true. In terms of the money for her new place, the first question I have, who actually sent her money? Come on now, we've had so many historical incidents of this. Not least was the whole vet situation where someone sent her, was it $200 to take the cat to the vet? And then she was like, I'm not taking him, I'll give you your money back. And then she was like, no, I'm not giving you your money back. You gave it to me, I'll use it for what I want. Don't send stuff if you want to police how I use it. We've had every tier of her membership that has promised anything extra ever that she's never lived up to. I mean, the postcard club, remember that? Who was out here trusting her to use the money for anything but food and probably weed? And while she was out here crying for food and shelter, and she did have some rages on the community post where she was having a go at everyone for discussing the fact that she had advertised her PayPal as an alternative to Super Chats because she A, gets the money immediately, and B, doesn't have to pay her pound of flesh to YouTube to get it. So she advertised that, she'd be happy to receive money, which isn't the same as asking, but is now mad that people might question, hey, you seem to have money for lots of takeout and recreational drugs, but you're saying you can't furnish an apartment, or at this point, get an apartment? Maybe if we prioritized where our money went, we would find that a little easier. I don't think for a second those people will get their money back, and I think Chantal is literally banking on that. I think she's hoping, well, the supporters will just say, don't worry about it, just keep it, it's no big deal, and then she won't have to return it. But she's trying to shield herself from criticism by saying, oh yeah, I'll return it to you, no problem, despite the fact she didn't do that in the past. I've changed too much to enjoy living here now. Whether you believe it or not, it's not my job to convince people of anything, okay? I don't think she's changed at all, but I do think she was miserable in Canada. I don't think she's happier in Kuwait, but it solves a few of the problems, the practical issues of like the apartment, the increased costs. It's cheaper for her to live as part of a couple in Kuwait where she doesn't need her credit history, where she is insulated from the effects of certain addictions because she can't get weed and she can't get anything else. She's choosing to damage herself in different ways, but there's going to be food in either country. My husband vowed to take good care of me. Husband? What husband? Where is he? Is he on the text messages? And to support me even more on my health journey if I return. Okay, so the health journey, she came online. This is not me putting words in her mouth. I do not have the clip. I apologize. I promise you it's out there. She came online and said a scan, this is presuming they could get a bariatric MRI machine, but a scan would cost I think we looked into it and wasn't it about 500 Canadian? But she came on and said, the costs are expensive and we don't have it. Now the scan is cheaper than the flight and they're paying the flight again, but how did you go from we don't have the money to cover ongoing care to, oh yeah, Solara's just paying for me to go back and forth, we do fine, I'm not rich, but it's none of your business, we can afford to pay for my care. Are you just planning on not doing any of it? Hoping to ignore it and it'll be fine? Maybe, but her body's becoming more and more insistent. It needs help and it's not change she's willing to do. So I'd be interested to see how much she actually ends up going for and what it ends up racking up, because there is a limit to money. Now, a variable here is we don't know how much Solar is making. I know we talk a lot about the perfumery, we talk a lot about him being available at all times or whatever it is, but we don't know what he brings in. We know Foodie's views are down. We know whatever she brings in this month is not going to be very much. We know the next couple of months are likely to be light because she had the week when she couldn't make content and now she's having a tantrum. So that is going to drastically lower how much she's earning. And we know if she's on a repayment plan for taxes, that there is a maximum that Canada will allow you to earn before they garnish. We don't know exactly what she's earning, but we know it's significantly less than she used to earn. And again, is it enough for day-to-day expenses? Probably. I mean, she still manages to eat out. She's still prioritizing certain things. Her apartment in Kuwait is likely cheaper than her apartment in Canada and with less obstacles to it. Oh, and this line right here. So my husband vowed to take care of me and to support me even more on my health journey if I return. So she is returning. She's just having a tantrum and taking a break. Let's see what it costs her in revenue, shall we? I will take more of a break now. I will focus on myself. See you. I think one of the reasons that she wasn't going live is because she was getting high. I think on whatever substance, let's say weed for the moment, yeah? Because she was already talking about how that was medicinal. I think she had limited places she could go online. I do believe that SME has said don't record in the house after all the problems they had before. And she can't really go into the car and be like, yeah, I'm just getting high, because people would be like, did you drive to do that? She doesn't really want to answer to the fact that she fell off so dramatically so quickly, I think is probably more to the point. But much as my introduction suggests, right now we're in the angry phase. She's going to come back, she's going to try and pretend and be defiant, and when people get properly mad at her and it has an effect, she'll try doing a baby-faced, oh, sorry, and then when that doesn't work, she'll turn on the waterworks or she'll try for an emotional appeal. This is probably when we'll get like an ER visit or some kind of health crisis so she can say, look what a good girl I'm being, I'm following all the directions of the doctors, I'm now very committed to seeing, and we'll start the cycle again. Now, we don't know currently when she's due back in Kuwait. She's still got things to indulge in Canada, so she might be traveling back. She might not be. But when we get her back to Kuwait and we figure out the timeline on that, assuming she can even last that long, because she hasn't been in Canada that long. Eid is coming up. It's currently the 8th. I believe in Oman it was announced for the 11th. So flying on that weekend would be absolutely nuts in terms of costs. Someone tagged me on Twitter, I can't remember who it was, saying, oh, for future reference, this is the cost of flying. And I think it was about $850. That wouldn't be the case right now with the holidays. I think about the $1,500 we looked at the other time would be about right. It could be even more at this point with Eid. Like, that's just flying during Ramadan. With Eid, I think it would get a lot higher. It's kind of like trying to fly at Christmas or any other major holiday, you know? Do I think she would be considerate of that in terms of getting back and getting what she wants? No, I think impulses drive her. But she didn't travel that long ago and she may not be in a condition to travel yet, in which case I would suggest waiting until after Eid. Whether she will or not is a whole nother story. But once she gets back to Kuwait, I would keep an eye on it, because I bet you in 3 months we will have the same issue of her needing to go somewhere. Now, if I've got the order of this right, after that there were a number of community posts. Okay, I think I've got them back into order, sorry. If these are wrong or I've missed anything, apologies. People are so dumb, they don't see how they contradict themselves, Lamau. He doesn't love you, don't go back for him. In the same breath, people claim I make $2,800 a month and am broke. I am broke and barren and blah, blah, fat, blah, blah. He can't come to Canada, blah, blah. Okay, so then by your logic, if he's paid 2 international flights for me this month alone, and I cannot offer any of the above things he would benefit from, then why is he with me? Morons. We had one issue in our relationships, and as you saw in those texts yourselves, he never did it since he loved me. And believe me, he's proven himself since. You know nothing. Anyways, as you can see, I need another break from the internet. Bye. Spoiler alert, she was not done. The break was not starting yet. There are a lot of questionable things in this particular passage. Like I say, the reason $2,800 a month comes up, I believe, is because that is the point at which Canada starts forcibly garnishing money. I think she's making significantly less than she did before. I don't know exactly how much she's making. Whatever they are making together seems to be enough for Salah to have had an upgrade in his life. And as I think we discussed before, and as has generally been discussed, at the beginning of all of this, Salah seemed ready to go to Canada. So if he thought he could go, or if he thought it was a case of sticking it out and then eventually he would be able to, we don't know how aware he was at the beginning of this. So there are a lot of things we don't know. We don't know Salah's motivations for staying in this. We presume that it's monetarily based, or opportunity based, I should say, if not money, because he doesn't seem to have an emotional attachment. Like, Foodie puts a lot of stock in the display of love, in being able to perform love. So things like the cake she got for Valentine's Day or a birthday, or whatever the hell it was, the note she wrote herself on the flowers that looked like they were from the gas station, being able to show love is more important than having it. You just had to fake love me. And that might be worth it for Salah, because he's still able to contact other women. And she says here, you know, you saw those texts yourselves, we had issues in our relationship. He thought she wasn't coming back. He invited another woman. He couldn't pay for the ticket because he'd paid for yours. And when you're talking about money, we're not saying she's broke. We're saying she's earning significantly less, and it should be going towards other things at this point. Salah was asking questions. He's looking for a replacement actively, and he may play the game until then, but you cannot tell me this is a lifetime deal. And if you're saying he's paid for the international flights, why didn't you pay for them? Didn't have enough money? Was that why you were putting your PayPal out? You claim to have had $2,000 to put into the car, which seemed the lower of the priorities at this point, because you're with family, you could potentially get rides, you needed to pay for an apartment. One would presume if you had, and I say presume like you're a logical person, but one would presume you had some plan to have that money available for an apartment, given that you claim to have packed up your life to go back. Now, we don't know how he's proven himself other than, you know, supporting her occasionally in chat, but there's obviously a lot of things going on behind the scenes there. And Foodie herself was like, oh, I have walls if I get divorced in the future, blah, blah, blah. Clearly, the relationship is not in a great place. Why he's paying for her to fly back, I don't know, but we'll see. Second community post, and no, I didn't come here for a visa run. Well, you may have had the idea, and I will concede this because you are an impulsive beauty. You may have had the idea that you were going to come back permanently, but what a coincidence that it happened right at the end of your visa timing. And I'm sure it'll be a massive coincidence next time you have to travel as well. Why would I come here for that when it's too expensive? Oh, so you did need to go somewhere. And that was my question. There were cheaper places. I think you're just dumb. I think you shoot yourself in the foot more often than not. And yes, there would have been much cheaper places to go for this. It's not your business about my visa status. Stop bringing it up then. Anytime you want to prove your visa status, I'll be listening. Without proof, I will continue to believe what I believe, and I will continue to talk about it because you put it online. I'm done with YouTube. She said that in her community post 2 minutes before. You people need a damn life. 12 minutes later. Now this is edited, so I don't know what the original one was. He cheated on you. We moved on. You know nothing. I cheated on someone I love dearly also, and guess what? I learned and never did it since. Did you dearly love Nada? Because that was the last time you cheated. You slept with the guy in Cuba for a laptop. I'm assuming she means BB here, because she said that like he was heartbroken and it's really affected her. But don't get it wrong, she has cheated on every major relationship she's ever had. People change, and besides that one incident, everything else is amazing about him. Mind your business. Stop judging things you know nothing about. We know what you've put out there. If you've put out things that look weird, that is why we know it. Regret your own choices. Don't take it out on us. But no, friends, she still wasn't finished. 8 minutes later and still ranting. Your YouTube career will be over if you go back. To be fair, I think her YouTube career is on a downward spiral wherever she goes. Do you know how stupid that sounds? You think I give an actual crap if people don't want to watch me anymore because I'm doing something I want to do with my own life? You sound very much like you give a crap. This raging makes it sound like you care. But good riddance, don't care, never will. Eventually I will rebuild a different audience anyway. Here's the thing, I think she relies way too much on that. I think there was a time in her YouTube career where she did used to, and still tries to, regenerate her audience. We come and go in waves. And when she didn't have such a history built up, when she hadn't been caught out doing such awful things, then she had the opportunity to do that, because every time she did a new health journey or a new year, new me, or any kind of fresh start, she would slough off some of her old audience and she'd bring in new ones. She is less capable of doing that now. She's been documented doing too much crap, and too much is known. She doesn't have the clean slate she used to have. So her reliance on that everything is salvageable, we just need to get out of here, is, trying to think of a word other than delusional, is unrealistic. As if you people think I'm going to live my life how a bunch of strangers online want me to. You don't have to. You can live your life any way you like. But if you're going to make your living on YouTube, don't be shocked that people have an opinion. Ignore it. It's okay to ignore it. If you were taking time off anyway, why don't you just post the video and then lock your account? None of these community posts needed to be made, but you needed to rant one last time, because trying to get the last word is way more important to her than any change she may be trying to establish. I am not more alive here, I am high here to deal with the depression. So she has been smoking weed. She had said she was going to go to the dispensary. It wasn't like she hid it because she got caught last time. But I think she's been high continuously enough that she hasn't been able to come live. And the final community post, which was done like 3 minutes after that one, and again, it's edited, I don't know what it said before. Okay, now I'm done with YouTube for a while. Last word. And yes, this is a psychotic episode. And yes, she's doing nothing about it. I'm frustrated and over putting my life out there for the entertainment of others. It's clearly not healthy. All right, those are all things you can do things about. It's okay to say I want to break from YouTube. I think Foodie will be back, because what else is she going to do? But it's okay to say you want to break. But if you're sitting there recognizing it as the rage it is, then what on earth are you doing right now? Like, it's clearly not healthy. I'm tired of stupid people. I think it's more likely you're tired of your own triggered self. You're tired of not being able to one-up people and put people in their place. And I would be tired of that as well. But think about who you're insulting here. To all my supporters, heart, see you later. Well, that'll erase everything else then, won't it? Would those be the supporters that have to be unconditional no matter what? The fair weather friends you're so angry about? I guess we'll see when they all get their money back, hey? So there we have it. I think what Foodie does next really depends on when she chooses to go back. If she's going back really quickly, then we may not hear back from her until she gets back to Kuwait, especially if she gets back to Kuwait and she's back in the apartment. She's got nothing else to do. She's gonna be bored out of her mind. So she'll take a day or two and then be like, hi guys, I'm back. And either we'll get defiant beauty like in the beginning, or we'll get emotional beauty just looking for the sympathy. Whichever one is more serving to her at the time, I would imagine. Or if it's going to be a little while until she can fly back, maybe after Eid, so another, week and a half. She may break and go on before because, like I said, her paycheck's going to be quite low. She is spending a lot of money, even if she doesn't go forward with staying in Canada, and she's just not capable of going without the attention. She's just have an enforced week off. And she was like, oh, the break was so good for me, the break was so good for me. But then she went straight back into going live a couple of times a day. Like, she cannot survive without YouTube. We've said that again and again and again, practically speaking, but emotionally speaking. All the friends she claims she has, she really doesn't have. She doesn't have another reliable outlet. So we're going to see her soon, but how soon, I really don't know. All right, everybody, I'm going to leave you there, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.